All right. Okay,
Yep.
We are live.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm Aliana, and I am with Jamie from Key Cellular Nutrition. And today we are going to be making a really yummy, delicious dessert. And I don't know about you, but this sounds super kid-friendly to me. What do you think?
I was very much looking forward to this one. I love sweets.
Me too. So I love creamy things, especially anything with cream cheese or anything like that, but dairy doesn't really get along with me much. So I don't eat dairy anymore, and I actually haven't eaten dairy in years. And so today we're going to be making a vegan cheesecake with a gluten-free crust, and they're in these cute little jars so you can individually prep them. And actually, I like to prep them in advance for the week, and my husband will take them to work with them. And they're just good grab-and-go snacks. And although it is dessert and tastes like dessert, it's actually, there's a lot of good stuff in it too. So before we get started, I'm going to walk you through what we're going to use to make this. The base that we use to make this creamy, to make it taste like actual cheesecake, is actually nuts. So one of the most widely used alternatives in paleo cooking, dairy-free cooking, to make things creamy is cashews or almonds.
Right.
So if you blend it with a liquid, it gets nice and soft, and that's what we're going to use today. So I've been soaking cashews for a few hours. When you soak the cashews, it allows them to get nice and soft, and they'll blend a lot easier, and that's what we're going to be using for the cream. And then we're also using a cashew-based crust, and in our crust, we're just using dates, which is considered, I consider it paleo candy. Have you had a date before?
I love dates. I love putting like coconut oil, excuse me, in it, and like a little bit of salt on top. It's really good.
So delicious. They're so sweet. They're so soft. They kind of taste like a big gummy.
Yeah.
So good. So we're using dates to kind of bind all of the cashews together, and that'll make it nice and sweet. And then what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling the pits out of the dates. The nice thing about dates is they don't go bad fast, so you can buy a big container. I got these organic dates from Costco.
Okay.
They're much more affordable if you buy them at Costco versus Whole Foods, because you get a big container of them, and they last long. You put them in your fridge. So delicious. All right, so I'm just removing my pits here, and then I'm going to add my cashews to my blender. I'm using the Ninja. It's my favorite blender. I've had it, I think, for like 6 to 8 years, and it is so good to me. I've never had any issues with it. I use it as my food processor. I use it to make smoothies. I use it for just about anything. All right, so I'm going to add my dates in here. I'm going to add my dry cashews. So I'm using dry cashews for the crust. The soaked cashews I'm using for the cream.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this in here. And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick.
So I've been looking at your website, and you do a lot of healthy cooking.
Yeah.
What has gotten you into making all these healthy meals?
So for years, I struggled with, and I'm starting to make the jam while we're talking here,
Okay.
adding some fruit, maple syrup, and lemons. I'm using mixed berries. So for years, I was so sick. I was on tons of medication. Whoops. Doug will eat it. I was on tons of medication, and I just couldn't get any answers with my doctors. So I was 19. I think I was taking like a dozen different drugs a day, and I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And the lady I was actually working for at the time was really into eating healthy, and I just saw how much energy she had. So I was like, I want to try what she's trying.
Yeah.
So I started seeing a holistic practitioner, and I started eating similarly to the way she was eating, because I was working in her home. And so I had access to the food she was eating. So I tried things like avocado hummus, things that I had never heard of before. I tried. I was like, this is actually really, really good. And so in time, I noticed that I felt better changing the way I ate. And a few months into it, I went strictly AIP. So I followed Sarah Ballantyne's Paleo Autoimmune Protocol. I cut out all the top things that are known to bother people with autoimmune conditions: grains,
Right.
Eggs, cheese, alcohol. And I felt amazing, and I was able to come off of all of my medication.
That's awesome.
all my symptoms went away, and it's really transformed my life. And during that time, I quit my job and really just set the intention to really heal my body. And I was working with a functional medicine doctor. Okay. She was my doctor, and she offered me a job to help pay for her services that I was getting at her office. And every day I went in, and I'd always bring food in that I was experimenting with at home. And she started saying, "Hey, Aliana, this is really good. Maybe you can make this for my patient that's having surgery. Or maybe you can help them out just for a week though, like nothing crazy." Because at the time I was just like, I'm just going to heal. I'm going to feel better and not do anything crazy.
Right.
And it just really, really grew. And so now we cook for hundreds of people all over PA, Ohio, and West Virginia. We deliver all over, and we're hoping to start shipping soon so we can even help people nationwide, which is super exciting. And I think one thing I like to put emphasis on is I'm 100% self-taught. And I share that because I learned as a college student that didn't have any money, was used to eating fast food, cheap pizza. Anyone can learn.
Yes.
So,
yeah. These meals are so incredibly helpful too. And they're just not just AIP, but they're paleo and some vegan, Whole30. You do it all.
Yeah, I do it all. And the cool thing is I've also experimented with it all myself. So I know how all these different foods have affected me. And while everybody's body is different, it's interesting to see, from a majority of the people that I've worked with, a lot of them can't have gluten. It makes them really, really sick.
Right.
And they notice that over time. Same with dairy. There's just certain things that you notice as you try things and you work with people for some time. So I'm going to blend this real quick. If you don't like loud noises, you may want to mute because this is going to get loud for a second. Okay, so I'm going to scrape down the sides, and this is just going to help all the crust get mixed together. I'm using just a silicone spatula. I love these silicone spatulas because they don't get messed up in my food blender. All right, I'm going to blend it again. Okay, so like I said, I'm using these little cups. They're from Amazon. They're just little mini mason jars, and they're just
so cute.
So cute, right?
It's perfect sizing too.
Perfect size. They look small, but you don't need much. You just need a little bit. And you find, I often hear from clients, they say to me, Aliana, I used to go for that chocolate bar every night, but then I had, one of your cheesecake cups, or I had one of your cookies, and there is no processed sugar in it, and it was satisfying. So you find that whenever you cut out a lot of the processed foods and you really focus on the whole foods, that your taste buds change. And so the fruit, a little bit of maple syrup, it tastes so, so sweet.
Right.
Whereas years ago, it wasn't very sweet for me. All right, so I have my jam cooking on the stove right now. I'm just taking my crust and I'm smashing it down in here. And the recipe says 2 tablespoons. The jam has to simmer, so we're good there. The recipe says 2 tablespoons, but you can just eyeball it. Also, I'm using some leftover yogurt cups here. All right, so I'm pushing these down. I made a little cheesecake cup earlier because I wanted to show you guys the final product, because when you make the cream, it has to process for about 4 to 5 minutes or it won't get really creamy. It'll get kind of gritty. And you want to make sure that you really allow that time for it to be in the food processor that long so that the texture is right. But I didn't want you guys to have to hear the noise that long. But I'll show you exactly how to do it.
So I do have to say, between the crust and the jam, the smell in here is so good.
Yeah.
It's very like a sweet, nutty smell. It's
so delicious. And although this is like, you think of, berries in the summer, I feel like this is a really good holiday treat too, especially with the maple. I'm gonna make I think a pumpkin one soon, which I think sounds amazing.
That would be good. I think every girl likes anything pumpkin spice.
Yeah, right? So yummy. All right, so I'm going to put my blade back in. And with my, I'm gonna add my almond milk. You can use coconut milk. You can use any kind of nut milk that you want. And then I'm gonna add some coconut oil. I get my coconut oil from Costco. It's organic. I get a big tub of it, and it's honestly, you get the best bang for your buck there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it takes me a while to go through it at home.
Yeah.
But it's so much more affordable. All right, so I'm gonna drain my nuts.
Do you want me to stir the?
Go ahead and whisk it. Yeah.
Whisk it.
You kind of want
Stir.
what? I got it. Yeah. Just watch you don't scrape the bottom of the pan. You kind of want it to be a little like it's gonna get jelly a little bit like.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this on here, and then this is where I would crush, and I'd let it go for 5 minutes. Depending on how intense your blender is, it may take a little longer, it may take a little shorter, but try it partially through because this literally should taste like cream. It shouldn't taste gritty at all. And it will taste gritty if you don't process it long enough.
So how long do you have to simmer the jam?
So for the jam, we're gonna simmer it for a few more minutes, and I'll show you guys what it'll look like when it's done. You just wanna see the seeds outside of the berries, and you kind of wanna break the berries apart. All right, so this is actually probably getting close to being done. Probably turn it up a minute. Does anyone have any questions for us? Let's see, looks yummy. Be sure and protect your hearing with headphones or earplugs. Yep, you can for sure just mute it.
I did have a question on Dr. Cole's Instagram a little bit back about what was your website?
It's Alliana'sKitchen.com. So that's www.alliana, ALLIANNAS kitchen.com.
Yeah. That was it so far.
Awesome. So I'm going to show you what the crust looks like. Everyone see? And just the dates and the cashews. It's super simple. And then everyone knows what jam looks like, but I'll show you anyways. All right. So here's our jam. It's a mix between blackberries and strawberries because that's what I had. So once I process the cream, I just pour it on top and I add my jam on top, and then it looks like this.
So is this what it looks like whenever it's all?
Yeah, this is what the jam, the cream looks like. It's creamy. You want to try it?
Sure. Just dip in?
Yeah, dip in.
That's really good. It's like vanilla. It's good.
It's rich.
Yes.
It's thick, it's rich, and maybe one time on here we could make it into mac and cheese because you can use cashew cream to make mac and cheese as well.
That's a really good idea.
With some squash in there. So delicious.
Yes. That sounds good.
Well, thank you so much for joining. It's fun as always. And feel free to tag us in the comments if you guys have any questions.
All right.
All right. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.